And so I wanted to create this company that supported Palestine, supported Palestine, supported our cause. And I threw a lot of ideas to to my wife.
Welcome to another episode of the Olive Roots podcast. I'm your host, Chose Ayub. Today we have somebody very special. I'm sure you like coffee because today we have the owner of Palestinian Coffee Company. I want you to welcome Emad El Mubasher. Emad,
What's going on, Josie? Thank you for the great invite. I appreciate the opportunity to come on your show. It really means a lot. So
of
excited for this.
of course, man. I found your company on Instagram and I was like, hold on, Palestinian Coffee? I was like, let me shoot my shot and message you. Slid in the DM, and then they referred me to your email, and I was like, here we are, bro. So thank you for joining us.
No, I appreciate it. No, this is the first invite I've received. So much appreciated. Allowing me to talk on your platform, and excited to get to know you and talk about my journey as well. So pretty cool.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So, Ahmed, the first portion of this episode will be you sharing with the viewers your identity. So, just tell the audience and tell me, where did you grow up? How did you grow up? From growing up to today, you can share everything you want. So, the stage is yours.
Thank you. So I was thinking a lot about where to begin, but when it comes to my identity, I think I want to go back to even with my father. So my father was born in 1943, and so this puts my dad basically alive before the the Nakba and you know basically Palestine being turned upside down by Israel. So he's lived in a life where there was none of that, but obviously that was happening. He was very young, so his life was, I think, really shaped with all this happening. Obviously, when this did happen, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians were massacred, and also you know all the evil stuff that happened with that. And so when it came to for him, I know one thing that he told me when he was growing up, that he was so afraid of them that anyone that he would see that had like potentially a yarmulke, when really it's just a regular Muslim hat, and so he would get scared, thinking that it was potentially Israel coming to attack them and hurt them. So I think he's lived kind of like his whole life almost in that shadow, from that perspective. I think it even though he said it as a joke, as a kid, because his dad was like, no, this is my friend, and like don't be scared and things like that. But it just shows like the mental impact that is had on all of us, and it's basically ingrained in us all. So going back, born, I was actually born in the United States, born in Houston, Texas, born and raised there. And the odd thing is I'll be interested to hear comments like in your comment section from your viewers. Is anyone has like kind of gone through the same experience? But for most of my life, because of that fear, my parents told me that when people ask you, because my name is unique, so I didn't really look different than anyone else growing up, to be honest. I didn't feel like I looked any different than anyone else, but my name obviously was different. So when people would ask me where I was from, I didn't know, obviously growing up as a little kid, elementary school specifically, what do I say back? Where exactly am I from? What religion am I, and things of that nature. And so when I asked my parents that, as in elementary school, I said, just say you're from Jordan. And so I said I was from Jordan. People would ask me, I'm from Jordan, I'm Muslim, and this is my name, and it's Arabic and all that stuff. So excuse me. So when so we would go and we would visit, Palestine, would visit Jordan when I was in grade school, and I wouldn't notice the difference. I think I was just too young to know that there was, we'd go to Jordan and then we'd go to Palestine like normal, but I wouldn't know that there was a difference. And so in high school was the next time, basically, kind of mature, obviously, was able to, 16 years old, self-aware and things of that nature. We go to Jordan, and then, my parents talking about, we got to go to Duffy, which is basically the term that we would call it. And so when we went, Jordan's nice and all, and but there's nothing like Palestine. And so we went to Jordan, we went to Palestine, we went through the Jisr. I don't know how do you ever go to Jordan? Do you do that by
Yeah,
chance?
I've seen how people go through the bridge, but so you go through Jordan to get to Palestine.
Yeah,
See, since I live in Jerusalem, I can go through Tel Aviv.
I see. Okay, okay,
Yeah, but I know the trip from Jordan to Palestine through the bridge, the Jisr, to the
yeah.
West Bank, Al-Duffa, it's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey. It's an all day process, especially at the busy times. And so when I went through it and I started to see all the soldiers, I started to see all the Israeli flags. I was like, Mama, what is this? And I would actually have to go with my mom instead of my both of my parents because my dad left before 1967. So I believe there is a rule where he can't go as a Palestinian; he has to go as a tourist. So he would always go through the tourist way, and we would have to go through the Palestinian way, and that would allow us to maintain our citizenship and our jinsiyah, so to speak, our passport. And so we had to do that for a certain amount of years. I think that law is abolished right now. I think you don't have to go every 6 years, but at the time you had to go at least every 6 years to maintain your passport, Palestinian passport. And so yeah, just like then basically just got filled in. I was just completely, what's the right word, sheltered as far as like what was going on in Palestine from my parents. And really, my parents, even though I was fully aware when the Oslo Accords happened, fully aware of the Intifada, fully aware of all these things, my uncle actually was killed by Israeli soldiers back in the early '90s, and so we all have his portrait everywhere in all our homes and stuff. He died shaheed and stuff, and they actually named a street in my hometown after him, and so yeah, so all that is kind of living in that kind of like basically becoming self-aware of my Palestinian background, and and once I kind of found out about everything, I was just hooked. Like this is my identity, this is where I'm from, and there are people out there that are trying to steal it from us and steal everything, our identity, our background, our culture, everything, and so yeah, so I was really hooked. Obviously, when I went back to high school that year, made sure I bought a bunch of Palestinian T-shirts, made sure I let everyone in my high school know that I was Palestinian, and it was just kind of interesting. It's kind of funny looking back at it. I was basketball and cross country and track and all that stuff, and everyone would kind of make comments like, it's the El Mubashers from Jordan because I have a twin brother, and so yeah, so I just basically had to go back and just like correct everyone. It's like, oh, actually, I'm not from Jordan. I'm from Palestine, and this is what's going on there. And so yeah, it was just a huge identity shift and for me at that point and who I was, and basically trying to advocate for my people's existence almost. And so that also got me into seeing like how wrong everyone was about Palestine. It was such a frustrating time, especially after I graduated high school and I went to college. Was really really involved or like really obsessed with the political scene, and how that plays a part into basically our the impact on Palestinians here in the United States, from senators, House Representatives to the president themselves. And so, it was just crazy for me. I never understood at that time. It always blew me away how they just unconditionally supported Israel, and I really never knew why. And so people would talk about APAC and would talk about the Israeli lobbyists and them having a lot of power, and really didn't understand until much later that it's really just all controlled by them. And so yeah, because at the end of the day, it was just like, I mean, I'm human. I'm human. You're human. Don't I have a right to exist? Don't I have any rights? Does it have to be controversial to say I'm Palestinian? That was the thing that always bothered me. And why does it have to always be controversial? And so I'm just stating a fact. I'm Palestinian, and that was it. And so, um, so for me, one of the big points also too that I remember in my life is there was a Democratic presidential candidate named Howard Dean. Do you know who that is by chance? No.
No.
Okay.
Howard Dean?
Yeah, Howard Dean. That was like in 2004. He was the front runner for the longest time, and he was pro-Palestinian actually, and wanted a two-state solution and wanted the United States to be fair and just fair and as humanitarian as possible to the Palestinians and this whole situation. And he basically got destroyed. And then that's basically the end for him. The Israeli lobbyists just took him to town. I didn't know at the time, but obviously, he made some comments that sounded like a little crazy, and they never let him hear the end of it. And he lost the Democratic primary to John Kerry, I think his name is. And then obviously he lost to George Bush for George Bush's second term. So that was kind of how like my life was. And honestly, for me, it was like all I needed to do was do my part as an American. Hey, we could vote, we could voice our opinion, we can try to change the narrative from that perspective, from that political perspective. Um, so then obviously life goes on. Ended up I didn't finish school later, but I had a career, with Walgreens and all these other companies, and found my way here in New Jersey. So then like it came to a point where in New Jersey ended up joining Amazon, which is probably one of the tech tech companies that make have the biggest negative impact on us, especially with Google and Alphabet and all that. So they came at a point where I kind of looked at my life and kind of just wanted to, and I'm sure you've probably gone through. I'm 42 years old, so it's kind of like I don't know if it's like a midlife crisis or not, but it was kind of like, okay, what's going to be my impact in life, and what am I going to do, to basically make this life meaningful for me and for my family. And so just started to think, yeah, I love coffee, and one of the biggest things with coffee is Starbucks as Howard Schultz was the founder, or I guess was the one of the early, I guess it was founded by someone else, but Howard Schultz bought it. But the biggest Israeli supporter we've ever seen. Received awards from Israel as far as like his support for them in the late '90s, and really honestly just started to see how these other companies, I don't know if you like familiar with the coffee industry, but there's companies like Grounds and Hounds and all these other companies that support pets, dogs, firemen, policemen, cats, all these things. And so for my hatred towards Starbucks, and me wanting to support Palestine, and really I love coffee, but I didn't know it at the level that I should know it, or I know it now, and still learning. Like I still have a lot to learn about coffee and all that stuff, but I'm learning, and I think wanted to create something. And at that time I started it in 2021, and if you remember, I mean, really, Palestine was not in the news, was not really being talked about, was not front and center. It was, as a lot of people talk about, before October 7th. No one really talked about Palestine. And so even with what was going on with the Abraham Accords, and it looked like business as usual. And so I wanted to create this company that supported Palestine, supported Palestine, and supported our cause. And I threw a lot of ideas to my wife of all sorts of things to start. And when I told her about this idea, she was like, "Oh, this is perfect." And I wanted to name the blends after the towns. So want to make sure that that was part of the kind of like my mission was to make blends that are named after towns and just speak about the town. So just bringing in the remembrance of Palestine and our people and all the cool things that is in Palestine and currently being being taken away from us by Israel. So
How old were you when you first visited Palestine?
yeah, I was probably I have memories when I was 4 years old being thrown on my uncle's shoulders and stuff in Palestine. So yeah, it was just I never connected the dots, and I don't know if it was just my mental block of it all or my parents sheltering us because they were afraid if we said we're from Palestine that we would potentially be like hurt in some way, whether it's educationally or physically or anything of that nature. So but yeah.
Yeah, they were pretty much protecting you, man,
Yeah.
because you were raised here and they didn't know how people are. I mean, you said Houston, Texas?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know there's a big Arab community over there and there's a lot of Palestinians. Is that true?
So yeah, but I would have to say that when I was growing up, I didn't know any Palestinians, and so the big community there. So especially in college, getting involved in Muslim students associations, and obviously getting close to my religion, the majority of the people in those groups were Desi, Pakistani, Indian, Bengali descent, and so which is awesome, and love their culture, love everything about them. But yeah, but it was very few Palestinians, and I remember also there was a Palestinian organization at the University of Houston, but it was very small. But I'm sure that was in 2001, 2002, 2003, and so those years obviously it's probably night and day. And so it's also say that Dallas is growing tremendously as far as like Arab culture, Arab community. Excuse me, but yeah, when I visit Houston, it feels different. It feels different. It feels like there is a lot of Arabs there, Muslims and Palestinians there. So, but where are you based out of? I forgot to ask you that.
I'm in Georgia.
Oh, very
I'm
cool.
in good
Okay.
old Georgia.
Yeah, yeah, dude. Yeah, no. Well, is it close to Atlanta?
I'm 30 minutes south of Atlanta in Fayetteville, Georgia.
Okay, okay. Are there a big Palestinian community out there, or?
Just me. I'm
Yeah,
the, I'm the community.
yeah, that is too funny. That is too
There's
funny.
a Syrian guy that I know, a Lebanese guy and his family, and that's pretty much it. Just the Levantines, you know.
Okay, okay. Oh well,
Yeah.
when I moved to Jersey, it's. I don't know if you ever been to Patterson or Clifton, New Jersey. It's
No, no.
dude, it's another world. It feels like you are back home. They actually called Patterson Little Palestine. They renamed it, and in the main street, kind of like the main artery of Patterson, renamed it Palestine Way. So pretty cool stuff. But a huge Palestinian community here in Patterson and Clifton, New Jersey. And there's a big Egyptian community in I think Jersey City. So yeah, I mean it's like night and day compared to like Houston, Texas, or Atlanta, Georgia, or Fairview. You said Fairview,
Fayetteville.
Fayetteville. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all of that, man.
Oh,
That's
of course.
awesome. So, yeah, growing up Palestinian in the United States is very difficult. Like, did you learn any Arabic growing up?
Yeah. So so my relatives, my cousins, and my aunts and uncles give my parents a hard time because they didn't teach us much Arabic, and so well they did, they tried, but we were difficult kids, so to speak. But when I was in pre-K, I do remember this when I was in pre-K, and it's funny how like I'm starting to remember all this stuff now talking to you, but um, in pre-K and in kindergarten, I would obviously we're trying to learn English as well too in schools, and so I I guess my brain was wired to where I couldn't differentiate the difference. So I'd come to school and I would be writing the alphabet in Arabic instead of in English. And so confusing the words and letters, like crazy. And yeah, even my cousins back home in Palestine, they would say when we were kids, we spoke fluent, Arabic. Like there was no issues. But as we get older, language is, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So and so as the years passed on, something that was kind of forgotten about, and just focused kind of like on everyday life in school and being successful, in the classroom and stuff. And so right now, currently, my Arabic, I would want to say that I'm about 50% when it comes verbal Arabic, and probably even worse when it comes to the written. I actually took Arabic in college, but right now I'm starting to learn, Arabic, and from the ground level essentially. And as a Muslim, I need to be able to read and pronunciate the words in the Quran and in prayer and stuff. So that's like been my biggest focus right now, and so it's pretty exciting. It's difficult, but nothing worth it that isn't hard. So just got to keep trying day by day and learning. My daughter, she's 7 years old, and she is leaps and bounds ahead of me, which is kind of cool too, because her teaching me and correcting me is also teaching her, and so it's helping her reinforce all the words. And the big thing that I struggle with was my name starts with an an. It's at the letter, and so I can't pronounce it for the life of me. So it's like a curse. Like my parents named all of us with that same letter, and I can't pronounce it. So it's kind of funny and sad too. I need to get better, and I will. But yeah, that's hopefully in the near future that'll be a problem solved.
Yeah, so Imad, you say Imad.
Yeah, exactly. Well, a lot of people growing up, when I would say Ahmad, they would be like Ahmad, and then be like, and
Yeah.
so for me, I guess like it's my passive personality. I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so yeah, but especially recently, I've been very, very, what's the right word? Very adamant about making sure they're saying my name correctly, because it is different, and it is, obviously means something. So,
Well, I want you to show the audience your mug and
oh
tell us a
yeah,
little bit about the mug.
oh yeah. So this mug. So my wife also, she actually designed it, but it's a Palestine mug. Obviously, with Starbucks, they don't have, they have these destination mugs. So a big play on that. Except that this one is Palestinian coffee, but yeah, I wanted to design something for us. And it's been, it's great. It's beautiful artwork. My wife did a great job, and so obviously we can't say that that it wasn't inspired by that company, but wanted it to be one for us. So yeah, love drinking from it. We also have other cups too, but this one's obviously my favorite. And so yeah,
That's beautiful, man. That's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, let's move on to the second portion of this episode. I would love, you spoke a little bit about your faith, but I would love for you to share with my audience your faith journey. Obviously, you grew up in the US as a Muslim. So, talk to me about that, since there's not a lot of Muslims probably in your school. So, tell me about your faith journey. Was it challenging, and where you are today with the faith?
Yeah. So I think yeah, it was definitely very different, and it was odd, growing up where I was the only Muslim in my neighborhood, only Muslim, one of the few Muslims, especially in elementary school, middle school, and high school is when I started to meet more Muslims, um, and so I think the the benefit that it really had on me was some of the societal norms in this country. Obviously, some of the stuff is drinking and all this kind of stuff, and I would see classmates doing it, but for me, it was always something where, hey, it's okay that they do it because it's allowed, but in my religion, I can't do it. So I think like being different kind of helped me in a way where made sure that was not lines that I would cross. And so
So it's kind of like it protected you from all those things.
oh yeah, and so even like in my senior year, people talk about prom and things of that nature. It was always like, oh no, I don't do that. And so when I would tell them, a lot of people would actually be admired by that. Like they respected that, even though it was completely different faiths, different backgrounds. But yeah, it definitely helped me throughout my high school, and then in college is when I started to meet more Muslims and really started to like get back to really knowing the religion and the faith, going to the mosque on a regular basis, going to events and trying to really just know the community and be a part of the community from a Muslim Students Association perspective at the university. And even though I didn't like, and also like took Arabic in college too and stuff, so just wanted to like try to get as close and more knowledgeable as far as I can in the religion. Even though it's knowledge is infinite almost, like it's you just got to always keep learning. And then like kind of life happened, and started my career with Walgreens and um, with Amazon Logistics, and then Amazon Fresh kind of went, where it wasn't so much. It was like a point in time where it was especially when I first moved to Jersey, where it was like kind of like non-existent. And so and then so right before like I met my wife, I actually just kind of started to like snap back into it. And it was a long time since I went to the mosque and I prayed. It just started to slowly pick that routine back up and trying to get back into the faith. um, and so yeah, so that's kind of like what kind of led me in this direction right now, as far as where I'm at in my faith. And I think just even though there's I'm really behind as far as what I as far as like learning Arabic and kind of memorizing the Quran and stuff. There's you just got to keep trying and keep going. So that's been my number one priority, really. My wife, she's great. She knows Arabic. She's actually from Lebanon, and she's helped me out tremendously. And we help each other out now. So there's a lot to learn. My biggest kind of passions is history. So I love learning about Islamic history, Palestinian history, and even the history of the United States as well too. Like it's also fascinating for me. So I have my kind of passions and my strengths, and I try to kind of pass it on to my wife and my daughter too. So, and vice versa. So it's give and take. But yeah, and again, I just noticed that I'm just so much more at peace. And so especially taking that leap of faith, leaving Amazon and focusing on Palestinian coffee, focusing on my religion, and just every day, just being me and being myself, and what I want to do in life as far as my purpose. Yeah.
That's beautiful that your wife is Lebanese, so you got the
Yeah.
perfect Levantine children.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty. It's funny. It didn't. It's funny how like how life and where everything takes you. But she'll say she's Palestinian if you ask her. So, but she's from a small town called Saida, I think it's called.
Saida, yeah, man, I love Lebanese people. We're the same people, bro. They
Oh,
just
100%.
divided us in different places with Syria, Jordan, Palestine,
Oh yeah.
Sham, you know?
Yeah. No, it's their MO, divide and conquer. So that's been their recipe for us since the early 1900s.
Then they called us Arabs, and we're like, we're Levantines. We're a little bit different than your rest of the Arabs.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
just put us
100%.
in the same circle. And I'm like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
people from that region, Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, we're very unique.
Hmm.
A lot of unique culture, religion, traditions, wardrobe. music, dancing, that maybe a little bit in Iraq, but mostly Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan.
Yeah,
It's pretty identical when you think
100%.
about it.
Yeah.
The accents are very close. The more south you go in Palestine, you sound more Egyptian. The more north you go, you sound more Lebanese.
Yeah, yeah. So
Same
true.
thing in Jordan. But then you hear a Syrian and a Lebanese, and sometimes you're like, they sound the same to me.
Oh, do they? Oh, they sound different to me. I feel like
Sometimes,
some. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But it's beautiful.
yeah,
So yeah, man, Lebanese wife, that's awesome, man.
yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you, thank you.
Similar cultures. Lebanese food is amazing, so I know you're happy.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, even though we cook everything, but really good. I mean, yeah, can't beat msachen,
Mm.
mensef. I don't. Do you like mensef too, or
I like everything, man, but since I'm by myself, I don't cook all that, and I'm not married, no kids. Maybe one day I'll find me a good Palestinian or Lebanese or Syrian or whatever wife, and then she can make this belly happy.
inshallah, inshallah, that would be good. God
Inshallah, man.
willing, God
Inshallah.
willing. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
So, okay, that's so you've been kind of like reading the Quran mostly in English and
Hmm.
understanding it, yeah. Because
Yeah,
that always fascinated me and also troubled me that the book is mostly comes in Arabic and then it's not talked about translated. Like, for example, the Bible, I read it in Arabic and then in America it's in English. You go to Greece, it's in Greek. But mostly they're like, oh, you have to learn it in Arabic. And I never understood that because I'm like, what if you're Japanese? Get a translated version.
yeah.
Learning
Oh
Arabic
yeah. Oh yeah,
hard,
yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
it is. It is. No, no. I mean, at the end day, foundationally, if you need to read it in English or in Japanese or whatever language that you're native in, that's the priority. And so, when we're doing our prayers, though, we have to do it in Arabic. But I know for people that are just new to the religion and things of that nature, you know, for the first time, it's okay to, I believe, to read it in English. But at the end of the day, they could read a transliteration of it, and
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't God accept their prayer in their tongue language?
yeah, that's a good question. But I mean, if you're talking about prayers in general, um, when you're talking about prayers in general, it's like, hey God, please help me do good on this
Yeah,
podcast. That's
yeah.
accepted in any religion. I mean, in any language. And so, but the fundamental prayers, it's 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 only accepted in Arabic. And one of the biggest reasons was when you do translate the Arabic language to any other language, there's going to be misses, and I'm sure you noticed it too when you read the Bible in Arabic and then you read it in English. There's some words that are just a little bit different, and so that's the biggest reason. The keep the Quran um, as pure as possible is the approach. And hey, I'm definitely no expert, so 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 I know them. Anyone that obviously, if there's anyone that could correct me in the comments, that would be
Yeah.
great.
No, I
Yeah,
think, to me, it's like if I want to, let's say I'm atheist and I want to learn a religion,
yeah,
and let's say that religion is in Spanish,
yeah. Hmm.
and I live in Japan. I
Hmm.
don't speak Spanish.
Yeah.
It's a lot for
Hmm.
me to learn first the Spanish as a Japanese and then a book written in Spanish and old Spanish with
Yeah.
all the pronunciations and that it's hard,
It
you
is. It
know,
is.
and it's kind of unfair, when you think
Yeah.
about it.
Well, it's the incredible thing that it's something that is currently it's currently happening. People are doing it, and it for some people, when they make it a priority, and especially when it comes to religion, nothing is unachievable. So it's pretty cool to see. I mean, and it's kind of cool. You've got all these non-Arabic speaking countries that like Indonesia, and non-Arab Muslim countries like Indonesia and Pakistan and Bangladesh. I mean, that know Arabic better than me, which is pretty incredible. It's crazy how that one little thing has brought the Arabic language kind of like 2 billion strong, kind of in the front and center forefront, where you have to learn it in order to preserve its its authenticity, so to speak. But the just to go back on that though, um, growing up too, I remember we had English Qurans, but the translations were in like this old English, and it was so difficult to read. And I think one of our scholars has made a comment about it. That was like probably one of the worst translations because it's like "thou art shall not," steal. It's like, what am I reading here? Doesn't
It's like
correlate
the
or.
King James version of the Bible.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay,
Old English, and you're like,
okay.
"Wow, okay." Some people, it's heavy English, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's difficult. It's I guess Shakespearean English. I'm not sure if that's correct. If that's
Yeah,
correct,
it's
but
kinda like that, yeah,
yeah,
from that era. I wish, because, the Old Testament of the Bible, it was written in ancient Hebrew, not modern Hebrew. Modern Hebrew is a made-up language. Ancient Hebrew is dead. It's old. We're talking about 6,000 years ago.
yeah, yeah.
Has nothing, no connection to modern Hebrew, by the way,
Okay.
if you didn't
I,
know.
I didn't know that. What's the?
Modern Hebrew was created in the 1800 by a Russian, and he stole the language from Arabic, infused it with Yiddish, Aramaic, and Latin.
What?
That's why when you hear them speak, some of the words sound like Arabic.
Yes, yes. Oh, of course. Yeah.
That's what they did
What was the purpose? This was in the 1800s. What was the
because
purpose of
they're
it?
Ashkenazi. They're not real Jews.
Of course. Yeah.
They're
No,
converts to a religion. They're not from the land.
right, right, right.
That's why they
Eh,
wanted to create an identity. Hebrew was kind of used for prayers, kind of like Arabic was used for Islamic prayers,
mm,
but they created something else and forced it as a spoken language on the
oh.
Israelis.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah.
That's why
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can't pronounce the letters.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. Hamas and
Yeah, they
all this
say
stuff.
Hamas,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
say, like, you can't say your name. They can't say the either.
Yeah, okay.
Be careful.
Hey, dude, you just made me think. Like that's scary. Yeah. So
Be
I
careful. You
better.
just say, "Oh, what's your name?" Emad. They're like, "Oh, hold on. Where's your tiny hat?"
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and they
yeah.
can't say they can't say ha, they can't say ra, so they say
Really?
ra.
Oh, really?
Israel, Israel,
Oh, I didn't know that.
like French.
Okay, okay. Well, I mean, they are Eastern European. I mean, I didn't know any of this until one of my old accountants. He's an atheist now, but he grew up Ashkenazi Jew, and he told me the whole background and essentially just went back to the foundations of Judaism is that you can't convert to the religion. So he I guess he kind of has his own moral dilemma kind of as far as identity is concerned. But yeah, so but it scratches the surface as far as like what where the background is, and what it all entails. But it seems like a lot on that.
Yeah, yeah, like these, 80 more than 85% of worldwide so-called Jews are not real Jews. They're Ashkenazi Jews that converted to a religion.
Yeah,
So they're
yeah,
not Judeans, they're not Yahud
yeah,
from
yeah.
Yehuda.
Right. No, I knew that too, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty. But the everyday average person in this world probably doesn't know that.
doesn't know.
This was a total European colonial
Project.
operation
Yeah.
project. Yep.
So they
So
were Khazarian from the Khazarian Empire, Khazar.
yes, yes, yes. He told me this. He told me this. This is coming back
So
to me.
he
Yes,
told you that.
yes. He
Wow.
told me. Yeah, he told me all of this. Yeah, he told me. I mean, it's and he even told me how they got into kind of like in positions with power and with influence and money is because of usury and the Christian faith in Europe. Obviously, they can't be, I guess, behind it, but they could use it, and so they were put in that position. But this is what he told me. Obviously,
That's
feel
true.
free to correct. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
usury which is unaccepted in Christianity or Islam.
yeah. Yeah.
So that's why when Jesus went to the temple, he was whipping them.
Hmm.
Why? Because they were charging interest,
Oh, okay.
usury. They were
I didn't know
selling
that.
and buying in the house of the Lord, the
Hmm.
temple,
Hmm.
tabernacle as it's called, and he whipped them and he
Okay.
flipped tables. Nobody likes to
Ooh.
talk about that. You
Okay.
know, he showed not the lamb, the lion, right? Because
Hmm. Hmm.
he was very upset. He's like, "This is the house of the Lord. It's the house
Hmm.
of God. What are you doing here? There's
Yeah.
Gentiles coming to join the covenant to sacrifice animals. That's way before
Yeah.
Jesus sacrificed to us Christians."
Yeah.
So he came and he saw that they're charging Gentiles interest on the cattle.
Oh wow. Oh
So
wow.
let's say a Judean, a Jew was paying $100, 100 shekels or
Hmm.
dinar, whatever it
Yeah.
was. I think it was denari back then.
Yeah.
Um, so he was paying 100 dinar on a goat. So a Gentile had to pay 120.
Oh wow.
So they're making
Wow.
money
That's crazy.
out of
That's
the
crazy.
Gentiles. And
Okay.
Judaism as it stands today, it's a religion created to rebel God because it's a supremacy religion. They
Hmm.
call me and you goyim.
Okay.
Goyim means Gentiles,
Okay.
non-Jews,
Okay. And that
which
is
also means
the
cattle.
term. So is that the term? The term is Gentile means non-Jewish.
They call goy for one person, goyim for plural,
Okay.
or goya for a female.
Okay.
And goy, when you go down the rabbit hole, well,
Hmm.
holes, many holes, you'll find out that it actually means cattle.
Okay. Oh
So
wow.
we are cattle
Cattle.
to them.
Yeah. Wow.
So you
Wow.
see when they're killing all the people in Palestine, Yemen, Lebanon,
Hmm.
Syria, they're behind the Syria stuff.
Oh, 100%.
Soon maybe Jordan, Egypt, who knows, right?
Yeah.
When you see Sudan, they're probably behind that. Congo, they're
Yeah.
behind
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
when you see that, you're like, that's why they're doing that, because they don't even believe we're equal and we're
Hmm.
subhuman,
Of course. Of course.
you
Of course.
know?
Oh, when you hear, you know, they're talking heads, I guess, Mark Shapiro or Mark Levin and Shapiro and all these guys. I mean, when they reference us, they don't care. We're you know we're non-human
You're
basically.
goy. So
Yeah,
like
we're going. Yeah, it doesn't even
even
matter.
the rabbis, some of those rabbis, those extreme rabbis,
Yeah.
they call us non-humans,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? Not like calling you like non-believer or atheist or whatever. No, 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 like you're not human.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the
Yeah.
problem with that religion when it comes down to it, because I'm sure there are 50, if there's 85%, 85% of Ashkenazis that are doing this called the Talmud.
Hmm. Hmm.
They don't follow the Torah. They follow
Yeah.
something called Talmud,
Yeah.
which calls us goyim and makes a mockery of Jesus Christ, by the way, if
Oh,
you
I didn't
didn't know.
know that. No, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, they say that Jesus was a bastard, his mom is a whore,
Oh
about
wow.
Mary.
Oh
She
wow.
slept with a Roman soldier called Pantera. He's the real
Oh,
father of Jesus.
what?
And he
Okay.
went to Egypt to learn magic. That's why he was doing all the miracles.
Oh my God.
And he's burning and boiling excrement and semen now.
Wow.
تصور, imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This
Oh,
is what these people believe. And people call them God's chosen people.
yeah. It blows me away. Blows me away. Growing up in my young adulthood, I used to think that was the greatest trick that they ever like convinced, especially the Christian Zionists. How could they think that someone besides them is God's chosen people, and no one else is, you know you know given the grace or the
The love,
the
the love.
the love, yeah, the love of God and all that stuff. It just blew me away that they would think it's like it had to been somehow manufactured by
Oh,
them.
yeah. I mean, think about it, man. They think the group of people that hate Jesus Christ or the other part of them that don't believe he's the Messiah
Yeah.
or a prophet or anything,
Yeah.
where Muslims believe he's a prophet, he's a Messiah at least,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to respect Jesus as a Muslim,
Oh,
right?
100%. Yeah.
And he's coming back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's interesting that they're supporting the other group of people that deny Jesus Christ,
Right.
blaspheme Jesus Christ, and are waiting for their false Messiah.
Right. Right.
And that used to drive me nuts, man. And
Oh
they're like,
man, dude.
"Yeah, Islam, Islam." And I'm like, "Bro, Muslims believe in Jesus too." And they're like, "What?" I was like, "Well, we have our differences, but at the
Yeah.
end of the day, they're waiting for Jesus to return."
Right. 100%. And when he does return, this is the crazy. Think about this. When he does return, we're all going to be one religion. We're all going to be following Jesus. So
Yeah,
it's
he says he's the truth, the way, and the life. And I believe instead of us killing each other and dividing each other, let's just wait till he comes back and
yeah,
find out.
100%, 100%.
I'm not
Yeah.
God. You're not God.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, at the end of the day, which I do think, the at least, from my readings and my background, that I know that that all this was, started to learn, like, manufactured basically by the Schofield. You ever heard of the Schofield
Yeah, the
Bible?
Schofield Bible, man.
Yeah, and basically it was just like an aha for me, like, oh, that makes sense. That's it doesn't seem logical. Where did this kind of come up from? And so it's pretty interesting, learning about Schofield and his background just recently. But
Oh, I have a perfect book that I can send you, and you can read
oh,
how he's an alcoholic
he left
and
his family, right?
a thief,
Yeah.
and he's wicked, and
Hmm.
he had his issues with God, period. Yet he comes up with these notes that God's prophecy is to kill the Palestinian children to bring Jesus. Like,
Oh, it makes no
what
sense.
kind
But
of Jesus are you talking about?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. And you hear it all the time when you hear these politicians talk about it. Like, oh, my number one priority was to protect Israel, because it says in the Bible. Where does it say in the Bible? And so, and obviously, when people push back, in what context? What's the guy's name? The politician. He's in
Ted Cruz
Ted Cruz. Man, I'm from Texas. I should know. But yeah, Ted Cruz, and just the
with
hypocrisy.
Tucker Carlson when he's like, "Yeah, we should bless the Israeli government."
Yeah, yeah.
Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of, it says the nation of Israel. So that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my. You pull out the phone and use the Google.
It's in Genesis. So you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it and you don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's like your theology? I'm confused. What does that even mean?
Tucker.
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Okay. Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two,
Hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And what
does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
Hold on. Define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked like 49 questions about.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
And is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yeah, nations exist, and he's discussing a nation. A nation was the people of Israel.
Is the nation
They're the descendants
God's
of
referring
Abraham.
to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes.
Yeah, he's just like, do you know what context that was set in? Like, what do you mean? And
He didn't even know where it was in the scripture, man.
Yes, he didn't. Yeah, Tucker Carlson had to put it. They had to tell him.
He
I
was like
remember that.
Genesis 13.
Yeah.
I will bless those who will bless thee and curse those who will curse thee. God was talking to Abraham, not Israel, because Jacob didn't exist.
Is that right?
Yeah, God is
Because
saying,
I never looked into it.
man, I think every Muslim should read the Bible to understand where this chaos comes from, and to
I agree.
understand
Yeah.
also in the Gospel, Injil, in the New Testament,
Yeah.
Jesus himself warning us against what they're doing.
Oh wow.
He's
Okay.
warning us, right?
And so
And
what does he say? Like what does he say exactly?
so in the Old Testament, when God is talking to Abraham,
Mhm,
he's telling him, I will create many nations from you, which he did.
mhm,
And I will bless those who will bless you to Abraham, and I will
mhm,
curse those who will curse you.
mhm,
Abraham was not married yet. He didn't have Isaac. He didn't have Ismail.
mhm.
There was no Hajar. There was no Sarah. There was none of that yet.
Oh, okay,
So he's
okay.
talking to him, I will bless you, Ibrahim, right?
Oh, mhm,
To Christianity, the seed of Abraham in the New Testament is fulfilled in Jesus Christ.
mhm.
That's the ultimate seed. So
But
when he says
but
the
all of
blessed,
them, but all of them are from Abraham,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Like David, Moses.
To Christians, since we follow Jesus,
Mhm.
that's the seed we're focused on,
Yeah. Okay.
right? We're not focused on Abraham. We're
Mhm.
not focused on David, Isaac, all that. We understand that all the stories had to happen for the lineage
Right.
that was given the Messiah, right?
Right. Right.
Jesus Christ. So so that's has nothing to do with Israel. And Israel was a person called Jacob,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. 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 Mhm.
He wasn't born yet. He
Right.
wasn't born.
Mhm.
So fast forward to the warnings in the gospel from Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
In John, Johanna, okay? In John, Jesus goes to these Pharisees that were charging interest in the temples,
Yeah.
and they're Jews, right?
Mhm.
And they
Mhm.
come to him and they're like, our father is Abraham, right?
Mhm.
And he's like, who are you? Because,
Mhm.
they denied Jesus Christ, the Messiah, and
Yes.
they
Mhm.
ordered his crucifixion according to us.
Mhm.
They're the reason he was on the cross.
Mhm.
So he comes to them and he's like, why don't you listen to me? If you believe that Abraham is your father, then you would listen to me
Yeah.
because I'm
Mhm.
bringing you the same news, the same story, the good news. That's what the gospel.
Mhm. Mhm.
And they're like, oh, what are you? Who are you? What would you know about Abraham? You're like, what, 30 years old? And
Mhm.
he says, before Abraham, I am.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
existed before Abraham in the spirit because
Mhm.
he has
Mhm.
the spirit of the Father.
Right.
Because he doesn't have an earthly father like they believe.
Mhm.
His
Mhm.
father is heavenly. That's
Yeah.
why we say the Father, which means God, not physically,
Yes.
spiritually,
Yes. Yes.
you
Yes.
know.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
Oh, yeah. I
they,
mean, we believe the same thing. I mean, like,
yeah, so they
yeah.
kept arguing with him, and he's like, your father is the devil, and he's the father of all lies.
Wow.
That's why he says in the book, in the Bible.
Uh huh.
And according to Jews, that's anti-Semitic.
that's,
So I
that's
guess
that's
Jesus was a Semite who's anti-Semitic, right?
right. Right. Yeah. That is absolutely. So when Jesus came in, from like I guess the Bible perspective, like the in the history, did he when he preached and he went like in those situations, obviously he was for everyone. He was for he was for the Jews and he was for the non-Jews, right?
Yeah, the Gentiles, yeah.
The Gentiles. So was that part of the conflict as well too, like within that community?
They
Was that
wanted to keep the law.
the law? Yeah.
They were
Okay.
focused on an earthly kingdom and Jesus is focused on a heavenly kingdom.
Okay.
They couldn't understand that.
Hmm.
They were
Yeah.
so focused on ruling earth.
Hmm.
And you see now what they're thinking about
Oh
money,
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Money. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They want to rule. They want the greater Israel,
Right. Hmm.
right? They want to expand. They're like, let me
Get
just
some elbow room.
let me
Yeah.
just elbow room.
Yeah.
And they're like, people are like, oh, they just want Gaza and the West Bank. I was like, no, 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 no.
They want all of it.
They don't
Yeah.
want peace. They want a piece of Lebanon, a
Piece of
piece of
Syria,
Syria, a piece of
Iraq. I mean, it's
Saudi
it's
Arabia.
oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
they're like this. Let me just, eh,
Let me
you
get some
know.
in here. Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't even take Gaza, bro, with guys with flip flops and AK-47.
So yeah,
How you
seriously.
how
No,
you gonna take the rest?
I think they are going to ruin themselves trying.
Self destruction.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and I think, when this thing was happening. So, when I started Palestinian Coffee, I was still working at Amazon. I was trying to launch Amazon Fresh grocery stores here. It's actually the regional behind it that started it here. So, when this stuff started to happen, everything kind of meaning of life really just changed. I mean, it's like, any of the initiatives and the focus was just like, in one ear out the other, it was just meaningless. It was just meaningless. And so, and obviously found meaning in this and promoting, pushing our cause. And, it's just crazy everything that they have done, and what has caused the ripple effects in this country, and put Palestinians in the forefront, without, just the transformation just happening. It's just incredible to see where this is going here in the United States, because people are waking up. They don't want to support a genocide. They don't want to. They want
How
don't
can you
want.
be? How can you be a Christian and support a genocide?
100%. Yeah. How can you be any religion and support a
Any
genocide?
any human any human being.
And yeah, and kudos to kudos to like our our Jewish cousins who are on our side. It's like 40%. And there's a study that or a poll that showed that 40% of them do believe that Israel's committing a genocide and don't agree with it.
Even
So
inside that country.
even inside that country, yeah. Even
Yeah.
inside that country, yeah. I'll say majority in that country do, but there's a huge minority, there that don't agree with that, and so they're tearing themselves apart, and they don't see it, All they care about is how they're going to control the media. You see it with Paramount, what's going on with Weiss and TikTok now, and the Ellison family or whatever it is.
Adelson family,
I
yeah.
don't know. I mean, it's just
Buying
crazy.
Trump, it's a
Oh
shame.
yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame, and I think like what the society kind of gets us into is that they want us to be distracted. Whether it's with music or with sports teams. Sports number one thing I think as well too. Like we're so this, America's got a big obsession with sports. And
guess who owns those sports teams?
They do. I mean, Mariam Adelson owns the Mavericks. I mean, it's insane. And so, so it's everywhere. And God forbid, someone from the Gulf wants to buy a team in the United States. I mean, that's
Sharia law is coming.
Yeah, that would be the end of everything. But the hypocrisy is beyond belief.
Look at this. Sharia law is coming because of Mamdani, right?
That's yeah.
But guess what? Yesterday, the head shopper, Julani, the new president of Syria, the Al Qaeda, wanted for $10 million, shaking hands with Trump.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was in there. He
put him in a suit like Zelensky. He looks like Theodore Herzl with his beard.
Does he?
And they put cologne on him. Probably he was stanky.
No.
And he took pictures with Trump, and this is the new president of Syria, democracy,
no,
bro.
He apparently
was Al-Qaeda.
This is men's fragrance. Yeah. This is no. It's the best fragrance. Come here, man.
He was playing basketball with servicemen apparently too.
Yeah,
there was video.
A new video shows Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara playing basketball with top U.S. military officials ahead of a historic meeting with President Donald Trump.
So Mamdani, the guy who is secular, half Hindu, half Muslim, is dangerous, but the head shopper in the White House is democracy now.
Well, see that is the moral. That is kind of like the moral dilemma right now, and and where we don't. It's so hard to know what the truth is. They're obviously a lot of bad things have happened in Syria, and both sides have done horrible things, but we're just at a time where we kind of don't know the full picture. And what's happening, which is something that we should all take into account. Like what is really going on behind the scenes. And obviously Israel talked about regime change. Syria was on the list, and so it's done. Yeah. And so
Syria, man, they ruined Syria. They talk about Bashar all they want, man. ISIS took over Syria and start killing every minority, and then if you are Muslim Sunni, he will kill you too if you're in his way, because those people are animals.
No, I did not know. I to be totally honest and transparent, don't know the history and what has happened in the last. I know it's been just utter devastation and killing.
Yeah, like they just killed so much people. They went to Ma'lula, which majority Christian Syrians, and they went to start executing people. Then they went to the Alawites, then they went to the Shia, then they went to the Druze, and then the Druze were supported by the Zionist state because there's Druze there.
Oh,
And
right, in the Golan Heights, right?
yeah, so there was so
Mhm.
much chaos, and then you start going down the rabbit hole and see who funded those militants for the coup, the regime change.
Yeah,
Israel, America, and Turkey.
Turkey. Well, Turkey wants their influence.
Turkey
Turkey,
wants land too.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. I
Wanted the
mean,
Ottoman Empire.
yeah, yeah.
Let me
Of
get.
course. No, they want their influence. I mean, dude. I mean, I don't. Yeah, they're just like everybody else, essentially. I mean, it's
Yeah,
clear. But
nationalists.
going back to Mamdani, I think if the Democrats want to win the
No,
presidency,
we're done. We're done with the two-party system. Don't
oh yeah,
fall in
we're
the
done.
trap.
I don't want to fall in the trap, but if anyone wants to win, they need to look at Mamdani's blueprint. That's the blueprint. You
America
don't need
first.
America first. You don't need to support Israel, and you can still win. I mean, like it's I I'd like to see how Mamdani does across the river over here, but there is it's clear that the people are done, with
Yeah,
believing.
I believe the Republicans and the Democrats that are America first should create a third party
Yeah, yeah,
for the
I
American people,
right,
regardless of everything else.
one
America
hundred percent.
first, look out for Americans. You want to make it a Christian nation? Make it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Eliminate the drugs, the alcohol, the LGBTQ, the pedophilia, the Hollywood, the banking
Mhm.
system. Man, America will be done if
Oh,
it
the
was.
banking system is where yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, if it's kind of crazy to think about all that, but I mean, yeah, there's so much that it could be done, and it's crazy how you do see a unity between, the America First on the left and the America First on the right, and how like they're kind of finding solidarity towards each
It's
other.
beautiful.
It is, and it's just basically, and even though there are differences,
Of
clearly, right
course.
and
Of
left, there are
course.
differences, but they're finding that they're not they're not deal breakers. And that we can come together to make America great again. Like everyone talks about. And so, yeah. So I do think that you're seeing some things that, although this is like the biggest catastrophe in our history, that after the Nakba, especially, that it is generating change and opening people's eyes, for the greater good, and God works in mysterious ways, and they could have their plan. America, the neocons and all these guys, the Zionists, can have their their plan, but God is the ultimate planner. So we'll see what happens.
Amen to that. Well, tell my audience and my viewers where they can get your coffee. Give them your social media and website as well.
Yeah, sure. So online only. Right now, we do have a couple partners that we sell across the country, in New Jersey, LA. I think there was one in Georgia as well too, if I'm not mistaken. But PaliCoffeeCo.com or PaliCoffee.com is our website. PalestinianCoffee.com also takes you to our website, and yeah, we ship.
Wow, you are able to find PalestinianCoffee.com?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, yeah. It was great. Yeah, Palestinian coffee. Yeah, so that was part of it too. So Pali Coffee and PalestinianCoffee.com was available. So yeah, so I was grateful for that 100%. But yeah,
And they can find different blends and the mug and all that.
yeah, the blends and all that stuff, 100%. Yeah, and if you have any questions about any of the blends, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're actually looking. We're actually moving to a roasting facility in Garfield, in next week. So we're going to be able to expand more, working with farmers and stuff like that in South and Central America and all over the world, hopefully. But yeah, but appreciate the support and appreciate you having me on, Josie. It means a lot.
Man, it was my pleasure. Well, Ahmad, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been It's been beautiful, man, having this conversation. I didn't know you, and I feel like we just became best
Yeah.
friends.
No, yeah, 100%. It feels like, yeah, no, it was definitely a great conversation. I didn't know what to expect, and so, yeah, you made it so easy, and it was 100% a pleasure. And like anytime, don't hesitate to reach out, talk, and stuff. So
God bless you, man, and I'll definitely gonna get some coffee because I love coffee.
I appreciate it. And I'll be definitely avid watcher too. Appreciate it, Josie.
God bless you, man. Peace
You
and
too,
love,
bro.
man.
Likewise, you too, man. Take care.
Salam.
Sam.
You guys heard it from Emad. Check out his coffee, man. I think it's gonna be amazing. Palestinian coffee, baby. Until next time, God bless you. Peace and love, and free Palestine.